Hey everybody, and welcome to Avid After School Sessions. I am Josh Young, and I'm going to answer some questions for you guys. So here we go. First, we had a lot of great questions, and the first question comes from Kyle Prince. And Kyle asks, how did you work your way up to where you are now, and what was your first big break? That's a great question. I would kind of consider it not a big break, but a lot of small breaks. I remember growing up, every weekend I would run to the movie theater and watch the films on the big screen with a buddy of mine, and I always remembered I wanted to see my name up on the big screen. And my background becomes music, but I really love TV and film. And so when I decided to get into television film, I found a great opportunity to work as an intern at a post house. They were doing two shows at the same time, and so I jumped aboard and said, I want to learn everything you got. And the post super was like, great, let's do this. So I joined in, worked about 60 hours a week, and did everything he asked of me. And being a PA, there's quite a bit of downtime. So whenever I had the downtime, I would go into the editors' rooms and just sit behind them and watch. I watched these guys for hours and hours and hours, and I helped the assistant editor. I just did what anybody ever asked me to do. I never sat around and did nothing. I always found something to do. So eventually, these guys created opportunities, and the assistant editor left. I jumped aboard. I became the assistant editor for a couple of weeks, and I got my first credit as assistant editor on this show. From then on, I just kind of did anything I possibly could. I did a PA job. I would go and be assistant editor, and I would be a coordinator for different shows anytime I got opportunities. I kept meeting people, and I kept on growing, and I think from there I was able to just keep on going and going and going. I always believe that whenever you do something, no matter what kind of job it is, if you have a good attitude and you work really hard, people are going to want to continue to work with you. Let's see, here we go. Our second question comes from Jonathan Lane. And John asks, how do you find that Avid helps to increase your editing speed? I love this question because when I first learned how to edit, and actually one of those editors from the first job I worked on ended up being one of my mentors, he would always tell me, you know what? Learn Avid. Be as fast as you possibly can. And Avid offers such great tools with your keyboard and customizable different functions that he always told me, use your mouse as little as possible. And so that's what I did. I create a keyboard. Actually, I have two different keyboard setups, and I come up with the idea where anytime I'm using the keyboard and using my mouse, they're working with each other to minimize the amount of mouse clicks. I also learn all my shortcuts. So by learning Avid and learning your tools, you're able to be a lot faster, and I don't have to worry about how to edit. I just now need to worry about how to be creative and being able to find the objectives that the producer needs to have happen. I love that ability with Avid. Let's see, our third question comes from Matthew Alley. Why Avid over other nonlinear editing systems? Well, I think it's kind of an easy answer. Avid is kind of the staple in this industry. Most film studios use Avid, most TV shows use Avid. As a matter of fact, on a larger scale, when you're getting to shows that have a lot of different editors and a lot of different editing systems, Avid has one of the best media management and system software and organizing that you could get on any other show. So I think it's become a staple in the industry. Also, you're getting a lot of different other companies like camera companies and drive companies trying to conform to the way Avid works because that way it's just easier for everybody. They've created a standard and they're going to continue to grow. And then also a lot of the jobs that are offered, at least the higher end jobs in this town, are all Avid jobs. Yes, you can find other jobs for other systems, but when people call you, they're going to call you and say, hey, we have an offer for an Avid job. Do you want to come work on this show? And it's not a choice where you get to use what system you want. You need to learn the system. So as it being an industry standard, I love Avid. I've learned Avid, and I've learned how to make it as useful as I possibly can for myself. So those are all the questions we have this week, and I encourage you to log in, ask your questions for next week, and I'll see you then. Thanks.